Little by little, episode by episode, the Black Clover anime series is actually getting better, and maybe it is worth your attention, especially if you're a fan of classic anime series like Dragon Ball, One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, or even Naruto. It totally carries a lot of that styling on its shoulders, but slowly but surely it seems like Black Clover is trying to do something a little different with it. That being said, this episode was a lot of fun, actually, and really not that much happened, but they managed to jam-pack this episode with a lot of really cool details and even some brand new characters and even some brand new rivals. So let's go ahead and jump into this week's episode of Black Clover. Basically, this episode is divided into two parts. The first half of the episode is all about Asta going on this grand tour of the Black Bull's base, and of course Magna Swing is the one who is going to be the tour guide throughout this incredibly crazy adventure. And while this is a series which is based around magic and wizards and all types of crazy stuff like that, it has something else in common with Harry Potter. The actual freaking mansion that the Black Bulls live in is constantly changing and shifting its shape. It reminds me of the giant freaking staircases in Hogwarts which would move around, or just all of the fact that the castle itself seems to be like a living, breathing entity. It's pretty cool, and I really do like the detail there. And this whole scene is basically just an excuse to see Asta just guffaw over freaking everything and just be amazed by everything that he's seeing. And honestly, you can't really blame him, especially because right now he's practically in heaven. He has his very own personal room, which he never had before in the boonies, and of course, he is a part of the Black Bulls, one of the Magic Knights. What could be better? Except for the fact that Magna Swing throws him through the ringer by making him do all of these really crazy things and almost getting him killed on a couple of occasions, like almost walking in right on the Captain Yami as he's taking a frickin' crap, or even going down to the very depths of the base and seeing all of these crazy beasts which are caged up in a scene which was probably, I think, the funniest scene of the entire series, where a giant wolf monster basically just bites the entire top half of Asta's body straight off. But because this is an anime, we're going with Looney Tunes logic here. It's just played for laughs. It's a fantastic sequence, and I love getting to see all of the craziness and vastness of this place, which I love the fact that it's going to change. It's never always going to look exactly the same, which is really clever. I really do like that aspect of it. And then we have the introduction of Noelle Silva, who, I'm going to be blunt, I'm not really a fan of her character. She just seems very stock for the moment. She's a weird rich girl who is apparently not that powerful. She can use magic, but she can't control it well, and her entire family looks down on her to the point where it actually gets kind of disturbing, where they say stuff like, "You should have died instead of Mom." It's that type of really tragic backstory. She's gonna have to come back from the depths of a broken home and get through it all with the power of friendship. But I'm at least glad that they got over her crappy attitude in this episode, because when she's initially introduced, she's just, for lack of a better word, she's a bitch. Simply put, not suitable for advertisers, be damned, she was a bitch. That's really just the way it was. And it was obvious that by the end of the episode she was probably going to come around. But the way that they actually did that I thought was really intriguing, because when she's introduced, she just feels that since she's from like this high-class family, she's so powerful, there's no comparison. What is she even doing here in the Black Bulls in the first place? And she utilizes water magic, and she can't aim to save her life. She's basically a frigging stormtrooper. Every single time she tries to hit a target, it either veers off to the left or veers off to the right. There's even a training sequence where she's trying to hit this tree, and it just never freaking happens. So while she is proficient in using magic, she can't control it quite well, and coming from a family that's so prestigious, of course that's going to put one hell of a burden on her shoulders. And by the end of the episode, there's this confrontation where she's confronted by Asta, and she tries to show off her powers, but she ends up getting absorbed by her very own magic and trapped in this massive ball of water. And the only thing that can stop it is something that, according to Captain Yami, is going to nullify magic. And of course, we've seen those abilities in the series so far. What is it? It is Asta's sword. We finally get to see it in action yet again, and it looked okay, and it makes sense. Little by little, they're building upon his weapon the fact that it's like being able to crash or destroy or consume magic. It can just repel it in just about every single sense, and that's how they're able to save Noelle. And they give her a little pat on the back and let her know it's okay that things were crappy. We're here. We're all crappy. Let's be crappy together. it's pretty freaking crappy. But honestly, it's pretty freaking good too, to be perfectly honest. So what's the rundown on this episode of Black Clover? I actually really liked this episode. If I only had one negative, it has more to do with the overall aesthetic of the show. The fact that just when I think of the colors of Black Clover, I think of like 3 colors: gray, black, and brown. It's not a very pretty show to look at. I mean, they do some decent things with the lightings, like the sunset and the introduction of Noelle, making her seem all the more ominous. But other than that, just everything just seems kind of drab. You know, just everything is just so muted and dark. And maybe that's just the overall aesthetic. Maybe it will get more crazy and colorful as it gets further on in the series. It's just, I don't know, maybe I'm just not used to the aesthetic of the show quite yet. I will say that it's not exactly the most pleasing thing to the eye. Luckily, the episode itself was a lot of fun, actually getting to see what this base was really like. And I also love the extreme juxtaposition of the standards in which Asta is living when compared to Yuno. He's with Golden Dawn, so they're basically like in this like really big, opulent golden mansion, which just looks amazing. And of course, Asta is just amazed to be in his very own room. Yuno doesn't even react to the fact that he really has like his very own quarters to live in. He's just really in it to win it. He is so goal focused when it comes to be wanting to become the Wizard King. So it's really great to see these contrasts between these characters, and I can't wait to see the inevitable reunion between the two so that they can share stories of all the crazy things that they've done so far, and to see how incredibly drastically different that they're all going to be. Really, I love that contrast of the show. And again, Golden Dawn does look significantly more colorful than the Black Bulls. Maybe that's just the aesthetic of them, because they're just always in the back of the boonies in the dark woods in this massive creepy looking mansion. That and like I said, there's a lot of little moments in this episode that I think really shined, especially the characters themselves. They're starting to just really grow on me a little bit. I just love how much fun they're of. Gordon Agrippa's got to be one of my favorite characters of all time. The Marilyn Manson look-like. Just he always like mumbles under his breath, and it's always stuff that's like really freaking funny. Magnus Swing has already become also one of my favorite characters from the show. He's just so boisterous, loud, and fun. You can't help but want to get caught up in his antics, and just freaking yummy. He's so intimidating, and that scene where they walked on him in the toilet was freaking hilarious. The scene where he literally grabs Asta and throws him towards that giant magic ball of water to save Noelle. It was crazy. Noelle herself, like I said, didn't really leave too much of an impact on me, though. But then again, it's the first episode where she's been properly showcased, so I'm sure she might grow on me a little bit more, and I can't wait to see what her real personality is going to be like, aside from this just, like, incredibly haughty princess-type character, which I'm not really gelling with quite yet. And I can't wait to see more of the dynamic between her and Asta. It's pretty clear that they're going to have some sort of strong relationship in this series, whether it be friends or romance. It's really hard to say at this point, but considering that she has a very distinctive character design, sticks out like a sore thumb, and is featured in the intro, she's got to be really important. What I will say is, I can't wait to see where the series is going to go from here, and I can't wait to see when the first major arc is going to start in proper. I have a feeling that we still have a little more training to do, maybe a few more characters to introduce, but I can't wait to see where the series is really going to go, what the overall story is going to be, if there's going to be an antagonist or a force that needs to be stopped or something to overcome, aside from just learning the art of magic. But then again, that could be really fun in itself. I just have to see what the series is going to do with it. What I will say is this episode was pretty competent. I actually really did enjoy it. If I only have one complaint, again, it's really just, I personally just don't like the aesthetic and colors of the show. Some of the characters look cool, some of them I just don't care about, but still, this was a good episode. Entertaining, if anything. You know, just, you gotta get over frickin' Asta screaming. He still does it from time to time. Not as much as in the previous episodes, but it still rears its ugly head a couple times. But I'm not even going to count that as a part of the score. For me, it's a 4 out of 5. Check it out, guys. Another good episode of Black Clover. Yeah, I'm actually enjoying this one. But I want to know about you guys. Are you enjoying the series? Did you like this episode right here? What did you think about the proper introduction of Noelle Silva? Did you like this episode? Not like it? What do you want to see from the rest of Black Clover? Tell me all your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video. I'll see you next time. And as always, stay dandy, baby.